Okay.
Now I can see myself.
Yeah. So as I said, in the '80s, probably around '82, that's when I moved back to Kansas City. And at first I was playing with Lonnie and the band, but then I was recording in the studio with Ricky Carter and Unidos band, and they had flown in a guy named Rick Sanchez to engineer. And so I think Rick wanted to finish some of the project out of
At Studio West.
At Studio West, where he was working at, and he was in control of, because he was the main tech guy and the main engineer over there. This is Warren Rhoades. And so Ricky told me that Warren asked him if he knew anybody that was interested in learning to engineer, because they wanted somebody to intern or whatever, and so Rick mentioned me. And so I went over, and Warren kind of said he put me right to work and just test me out, see what I can do, and see how my ear was and all that, and explained a few things. And then he saw that also that I was kind of a technician, had a little background, but during that time also he told me I needed to go to tech school and learn some electronics, and so I wound up going to Dickinson. It wasn't it Dickinson or something like that?
I think something like that.
Electronic school or whatever, which was kind of one of it was funky and one of
back then the trade schools were thought of as kind of being rip-offs a little bit. They take advantage of situations.
Because I used to call my brother James up and say, "Oh, how did so and so?" And so I've learned how to do it, and then I asked the teachers, they didn't know, so I wound up teaching some of the other kids, that was going there. We just wound up basically teaching ourselves and just
there wasn't recording schools back then. You know what I mean? Like now you can go to school and be a recording engineer or something, and take classes, but there wasn't any classes. We were all self-taught, and you kind of get thrown into situations where I was working with a band at the time named Shooting Star, and got thrown in. I had worked with Randy Bachman's studio up in Linden, Washington, and so I had some studio experience. We were using tape machines and all analog back then, so I had some experience. And then Gary wanted to build a studio in Kansas City, so I did that. And then I met Crayge and Unidos and the guys, and I loved them. Became real good friends. Still to this day, we're friends. 40 years later,
Well, he put me to work, wiring, studio, soldering, doing everything, and he wanted me to make sure I learned, component level?
Yeah, the basics of the component level.
With a resistor,
how they work, how transistors work,
how to test them, and
op amps,
exactly.
and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing it. I've been doing it for 50 years now, but. Crayge and I became real good friends, and I moved to Fantasy Studios out in San Francisco. Was out there, and they were going to build this keyboard room. It's kind of when sequencers and all those kind of things became real popular, and computer-based sequencers. And not a lot of people knew how to do it at the time. Once again, you didn't go to school to learn that stuff.
Right.
And Crayge had been working with Gary a lot. And
I took over as chief engineer once he left, because he left me with the job of handling all the clients and stuff, and doing that, and doing all the splicing of the tapes, and what he had taught me how to do and stuff.
So anyway, they were going to hire somebody, and Fantasy at the time was the #1 studio in the world. I mean, everybody was going through there.
Now you remember I said I was going to L.A. I was going to move to L.A. You said, "Well, Crayge, why don't you stop by this way on your way? You might be interested in this job or whatever." And then you introduced me to Roy
and Nina,
and they liked me.
And it was the place to be.
And you said Hammer had just got this multi-million-dollar deal,
right?
And come get some of this money.
We were. It was the time when it was Journey, it was Hammer, it was Huey Lewis and the News, In Vogue,
and then they had the whole jazz collection too,
which they did. It was the biggest independent jazz label in the world at the time. But they owned Sax, what all the other record companies know. There's about 5 that they had bought out.
Yeah.
It was crazy because every time someone would pass away, everybody'd go up in the vault and grab all the tapes and come back down. They'd master and put together another series of those jazz artists.
So I came on out to Fantasy, and he used to have me in the shop like this, with all this, pretty much, with the same test equipment and all that. He had me sometimes helping him out doing little things like that, on top of introducing me to all the players and stuff, all the producers and things that were going on, and they had me doing little, we were working with Hammer, we were working in Vogue, we were working with Tony. Too Short was working down being mastering down. So all these people all were coming and up and down the halls here, and Warren was constantly introducing me, and
hundreds of other artists that aren't popular, as we all know.
Yeah, Robert Crayge. I think I did something with him. He even got me to engineer a couple of times on a couple of movie projects where you said, oh, he can engineer, so you brought me in there, and I wound up working on that. What was that one? At Play in the Field of the Lord. And they had me do some.
The Unbearable Likeness of Being too was one of them or something. Yeah.
And so there was 4 studios, basically.
4 studios, 2 mastering rooms, and then a film center up on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
It had a big theater and all the tape music. Back then it wasn't digital, so we had all these reels of tape going on. It was pretty intense.
Big old giant tape machines that had to be synced up with the links.
About 20 of them.
But when I first moved out, I wound up staying with him.
He lived with me.
Yeah, he put me up, with his family and stuff, opened his door to me, and then they wound up giving me the keys to the Fantasy Studio. And I remember doing the Oakland Fires, you called me up and said, hey, you got to go turn off all this stuff.
I do remember that, the Oakland Fires.
And so
then we had the earthquake. And that's when I left after that.
Yeah. But he wound up eventually leaving out of there, and during the time when he left, I think everybody pretty much was peeling out and stuff. And you asked me to come down here to Nashville, where I'm at right now. This is Soundstage, right? And this studio is I don't know, from a studio point of view, to me, it's a lot better than Fantasy was,
well, years of, back in the day, Fantasy was it, and this is what 2020, 21 looks like.
Yeah, I guess with the newer things, with dealing with the analog and digital, so this is a modern version of that, but the other one did have a unique sound to it. But he's been here for how many years now?
32.
Wow.
Long time. But
and so he invited me down. I came here in 2004 to master my CD, and I came down here another time in 2009 to master the Just Me CD that I did here and stuff. So he
shout out to Randy Leroy was the master engineer.
He introduced me to Randy, and Randy did a great job on all that stuff. And I wound up learning a lot too. I was kind of peeping over his shoulder when he wasn't looking.
Craig was always a learner. You didn't do anything without him. He was always paying attention whether you thought he was or not. So he's been quite a inspiration to all of us, I think. So.
You can walk a little bit.
Yeah, man.
I guess I'll just hold it like that.
Yeah, we can go into front stage. I don't think anybody's in there.
Yeah.
This was the front stage. It's been around since 1970. And this is where Jerry Lee Lewis and Johnny Cash and everybody else back in the day recorded. And of course, it's been redone several times, but this is where all the players usually play. louvers on the very top. If you see those, they're controlled by a motor, 3 different sets, and they'll open and close, so you get a different ambient effect by the angle of the louvers. It's kind of a unique thing. Then you got the piano room over here. Keys, organs. And those are all amp lockers, so the heads are all in here, but the amps are all back there in those lockers, so they don't bleed into the drums and stuff, so everybody can be in the same room and talk, but you don't have amps blaring in your face.
And Fantasy had a similar type thing, didn't they, going on?
They did. LA studios, West Coast studios were a lot different. Nashville has like 10 guys playing at the same time, so there's a lot more booths here. Like there's 8 booths here, where L.A. and San Francisco was big open rooms, and you kind of made booths. You know what I mean, out of gobos.
So how many rooms do you have here?
There's 3 big studios and 4 small ones. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, I talked to that Nick. He wants to know what done. Trying to stand there for the 2 days.
Yeah, I'm doing something with Crayge right now. Can I call you back?
Well, they're doing this today.
What do you want done? I mean, that's kind of more your...
I thought you wanted
Then we can come on in the backstage. What are you doing?
We're getting a new amp.
Nice, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
They seem a little bright to me. The guy's coming down. ATC is coming and he's going to come tune all the rooms.
Oh, right.
So I kind of just let him tune.
Yeah.
They sure are a lot tighter.
Did you do them for both rooms?
No, I already had those in front.
Oh, you did. That's right.
But it's a lot different. I mean, it's real tight and you can hear through stuff. Does that make sense to you?
No, I had them on. It sounded good. I didn't think they sounded too bright.
I just was kind of surprised on how different it sounded. You know what I mean?
Well, that other one had gone all funky, man. I mean, it didn't sound good.
No, it was barely making it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just on. That's how I. And to get it on was a whole nother story. You know?
Are you doing a documentary here or something?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
you're on it.
I was kind of telling my history, and
We're getting
my
old, so
meeting him,
documenting his
yeah,
life.
yeah,
That's cool.
in the studios and stuff, and where he's at right now.
Yeah. Awesome.
And you are?
Oh, hey. I'm Chuck.
The famous Chuck Ainley.
That's Joel. Joel's like the dude.
He's the dude.
And this is the consoles and stuff.
I got Joel to get long hair. That's what I'm saying.
I like it.
Yeah.
He fits right in. But he also is, man, he was so awesome the other day during the tracking. I walked in, because we had everything set up the previous day and went away thinking, okay, we'll walk in, everything will be cool and groovy. And he goes, and the console went off last night, and you don't have any soft switches. And I'm like, whoa.
Oh, he was awesome. I was on the phone, trust me.
Yeah, I know.
We were FaceTiming.
And so you guys are sitting there talking on the phone, and I'm getting drum sounds regardless. I knew I had a band coming in.
Well, it was
We were
9:15 when you called me. So.
Yeah.
we were
got it
going to
back
make
like
it
that.
work one way or the other, but then just like right before the artist walked in, it's like I pulled this module and it's all back on now, and it's like, oh god.
I asked him, I said, does any module look different? And he found it. So.
But he no panic, and he's like,
No, he's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
Not that. I was pretty impressed. I told him I was pretty amazed. Because I thought I had him unplug everything, do all this stuff, and nothing was working,
You know what I liked about him too is he'd like, asked other guys about when I'd been in before, and like found out how I like to have everything named in Pro Tools, and how I like to have stuff come up on the desk. And I mean, he had
link the cables.
he had I mean, he had things already like, yeah, good boy.
That's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's gonna be. I told him a long time ago that he's gonna make it.
Yeah.
He'll be one of the ones. He'll be the coolie.
He'll be kicking Cooley out of the Cooley. Cooley will know what it feels like.
This is the drum room back here. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
And did you notice when we came in here, this wasn't here?
Yeah.
This wall slides back over here and stored over here, so you can separate it or not. You can have it wide open either way. And I was telling Craig about the glass. This is the first studio I ever did where the glass went all the way to the floor, which is good, except for over there somebody keeps trying to walk through it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Anyway, there's the piano room, vocal booth. Very nice studio back here. We just redid this. This is only 2011, I think I got finished this. So, gosh, time goes by. That's already 10 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, but it's the newest redone out of all of them.
All right. Well, that should be enough, I would think, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Might want to get this. It's a nice visual back here, Craig.
All right. Yeah.
Actually, the back of the building is more impressive than this. You know what I mean?
I want to stay up there.
I can hold it.
That's good. Drop it down. Yeah, that's fine. Sound stage. All right.
Then this is a good visual back here. Black River Entertainment Studios.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers.
Me and Warren back together. It's been a few years.
Yeah.
Lifelong friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned so much. He mentored me and taught me so many things and stuff. And I'm half of who I am is because of him.
Oh, now I don't know about that. He did it all on his own.
Ronnie's place. What'd you say about Ronnie's place?
This was Roy Orbison's studio in the 70s, and then it was bought by Ronnie Millsap in the 80s. And nobody's in there. You can probably walk over there. Well, kind of noisy in here. I'm smoking this. If they're not recording, go on in, Chris.
They're setting up. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, they're setting up. Alrighty.
My air conditioning out. I'm gonna stand here next to it.
Yeah.